intimately involved in Evil Angels were director Fred Schepisi and producer Verity Lambert. I talked to them this week about their film, and I asked them if they had any opinions of the Chamberlain case before reading John Bryson's book, Evil Angels.
Well, yes, but not a very strong one. It wasn't covered in the same way in the British press. So I think I'd read one article which really presented it as a rather bizarre murder story. And I suppose if I thought anything, it was that there had been a murder and that these people were guilty. So, but it wasn't a strong opinion. And when I first heard about the book, I only became interested in the book when I was told that the book was about what might be a miscarriage of justice. I wasn't really interested in a conventional murder story, however bizarre it might seem.
Yeah, I was out of Australia for most of that time. I was visiting a lot, and all of my information came from dinner party conversations, which was incredibly distorted. I remember being fascinated at the passion with which people were having these discussions and at the absolutely irrational behaviour of normally rational people. But you still couldn't help but get swept up in it and say, well, that sounds reasonable, or that sounds... And so I, did have some rather silly opinions. And I must say, when Verity forced me to read the book, no slight on John Bryson, because it's a great book, but by about 150 pages, I was just appalled at how little information people really had and were going on. I mean, I never heard any of the facts that were presented in the book. And after reading the whole book, I was absolutely outraged. You get angry at yourself because you're a participant in this process,
When I read the book, it didn't seem to me that this book could only happen in Australia. The things that the book threw up, and what Fred has just been talking about, are universal. There's a case in France at the moment, which is not dissimilar, where a woman is in prison at the moment waiting to be charged with the murder of her child. And this drowning took place in a very remote village. It had all the mystery, and it engendered exactly the same kind of reactions in France. Articles in the press written by people who should know better, making statements about the case. So it could happen anywhere.
What do you hope the film achieves, particularly for Lindy and Michael?
I hope that people will see what would happen if it was them. It could be you, it could be me, it could be any one of us that this could happen to, and we are powerless. Once the world starts turning on us, and then it's fed by the media, etc., we become powerless. No matter what the truth is, another reality takes over and just crushes us. And I hope the world will see that two seemingly very ordinary people somehow not only survived this, but showed the most amazing strength of character and incredible faith. I mean, I think they are remarkable people, and I think perhaps people will get an understanding of what seemingly harmless events in isolation can do in combination to people's lives. I mean, it's a tragedy, and it's not just the Lindy Chamberlain story, it's a family tragedy. And what people forget is at the core of this, a family lost their little baby, and that's grief enough without having been attacked. And it was a very big decision as to whether Sam and Meryl should meet the Chamberlains, because actors need to go within their own inner resources to do a character of real depth. And frequently when they meet real characters, it turns into mimicry, even though they fight against it. And they nearly weren't going to meet, but then they felt they had to meet because the only way that they knew them, and there was volumes of information, was through the public persona. And they felt that unwittingly they'd got an impression anyway, and they felt that perhaps that needed to be counteracted by knowing more of the real people. So they met them enough to do that, and then still be able to go within themselves, which is very, very important, I think.
I think what I feel very good about is that people have not said it's an unbalanced movie. People haven't come out saying it's this, it's that. They have come out. I think we really have, and Fred, we all work very hard for that. We've really achieved something that is balanced. It isn't biased in any one direction, in any one element.
It's not a witch hunt, you know. Because that's too easy to go and blame the media. Find a villain, you know, put it all off on one person. But that wouldn't be the answer, would it? And I'm glad that the public understands that, and you know, they sort of somehow feel like, oh, they know something more about it and are a bit relieved by it.
It's been out a week now. The response to it has been amazingly positive. How do you feel about that?
Great.
Terrific.
Absolutely
Thrilled.
fantastic.
We had to turn the air conditioning off. I'm cold.
You can't possibly be cold.
I'm freezing.
Then put a blanket on yourself.
I don't want to put a blanket on myself. Right, have the air
Leave it,
conditioning
I'm
on.
roasting. Seem to forget I've got a little furnace blazing away in here. If you want my company, then put a blanket on.
The last thing I want at the moment is to put a blanket
Go
over
in
me.
the other room then.
All right, I will.
Evil Angels is showing